Welcome to Enviro Close-Up. I am Carl Grossman. With me is Brian Howard. He is the managing editor of the environmental magazine, and the author of the cover story, the lead story in the September-October 2003 issue of E. Message in a Bottle is the header. Despite the hype, bottled water is neither cleaner nor greener than tap water. And I mean, the amount of research, Brian, that you did, I mean, it goes on for pages and pages and pages, and frankly, blows my socks off. What did you find out about bottled water, Brian?
Well, Carl, bottled water is a ubiquitous product. You can hardly ask for water anywhere without being handed a bottle. Whether you go to a restaurant, you have to make an incredible effort not to be handed a bottle. When you go to a bodega, a convenience store down the street, right next to the soft drinks, the candy, rows and rows of bottled water. Supermarkets, health food stores, it's in practically anywhere any food or water product is sold, bottled water is there. And but people don't think about it. We reach for the bottled water without realizing what's behind it, what's the true cost. The popularity of the product, and it is a product, as the the International Bottled Water Association pointed out to me, well, yes, it's water in a bottle, but it's also a product. It's a commodity.
Yeah, indeed. You mentioned here annual sales of more than $35 billion worldwide.
Absolutely.
And here in the United States, $7.7 billion was shelled out for bottled water. This is in 2002.
Oh, it's exploding. It's far past that today. No one even knows. It's going so fast, no one even knows how fast. It's paced to perhaps even overtake soft drinks as the most consumed beverage in America. It's already on its way this year to pass coffee and milk. So we're talking about something that's very significant. People say in an economy dominated by oil, metals, how important can this be? It's very important. It's something everybody uses, and it has far-ranging implications for everything we do, especially for the environment. But it is a big part and a growing and important part of business and the economy as well.
The thing which just to me, I mean, I had no idea, utterly no idea until I read this piece. You get into, I mean, chapter and verse about what various tests by various entities, various agencies, and various groups, what they found in bottled water. Here is a test done in California, where they find levels of the toxic chemical toluene, as you pronounce it, toluene. Here is in Kansas, detectable amounts of chlorine and chloroform.
Oh, yes.
I mean, wow.
Absolutely. In that study in particular, it was a Kansas Department of Health study. Every single bottle they tested had detectable levels of chlorine, fluoride, and sodium. Every bottle. And beyond that, they tested for other chemicals as well, even more insidious, chloroform. A number of them, a surprising number, tested positive for chloroform. And the bottom line there is people are spending good money for something that comes in a bottle, sealed up, and it could have chloroform in it. And they're not allowed, they're not prompted, there's nothing regulating them to say that how pure it is. There's no concentrations of any impurities. And it's amazing. It's the number of bottles that actually do have impurities. The Natural Resources Defense Council did a long-term 4-year scientific study. They tested well over 1,000 bottles, over 103 brands from all over the country, all over the U.S. And a third of them had measurable, often considerable contaminants. And besides the one you mentioned, there's a number of heavy metals. So one of the reasons historically people have been afraid of their tap water is, oh, it may have lead in it. It can have pipe sediments. It can have other heavy metals, mercury, cadmium, some scary stuff. But the sad thing is a third of those National Resource Defense tested bottles had many of the similar litany of problems. Many of them had heavy metals, mercury, arsenic, cadmium. And people don't realize this when they go to the supermarket and they buy their case of bottled water, that a third of them tested can have impurities. It's just, there's no awareness of this. But what I cannot stand is when people don't realize what's going on behind the scenes. I want people just to know that when they reach for that bottled water, if they really want it, that's fine. But they should realize what the cost to other people and to the environment. And what is that cost? Well, it takes up to 1.5 million tons of plastics just to make those little bottles. And that's worldwide. But in the US, we throw away some 30 million of those plastic bottles every day. Those bottles take 1,000 years to biodegrade. But of course, sadly, they're not being recycled as much as people would like. People may faithfully throw them into the bins hoping that they'll get recycled. Unfortunately, as we're finding out more and more, now that recycling's been around and some studies are coming out, the percentage of materials that we're recycling is actually going down, not up. Because I often hear people say, oh, it's fine to drink bottled water because it's in recyclable containers. Well, I'm very glad that they're in recyclable containers, but we need to do a lot more as a society to recycle those containers because only 5 to 10% are being recycled. So what that boils down to 9 out of every 10 bottles that are consumed in the US, they end up in either on the ground as litter or in the garbage. They don't end up getting recycled. Well, that's a huge amount of plastic that's being wasted. And plastic is an oil product. And today we're looking at a world where, unfortunately, oil is a big part of politics. And many people have implicated it in large social, military conflicts throughout the world. So it's something it's very important. It's something that E is very interested in. It takes 1.5 million barrels of oil just in the US to feed the US appetite for bottled water. And I didn't realize before I came to E how much that is. That's enough oil to power 100,000 cars for an entire year. Or that's enough to have complete electricity for 250,000 homes for a year. So that's a substantial amount of oil. And when people sit around and they talk about where we're going to get more oil, how is oil affecting our national policy? People are not thinking about if we were more sensible about our water consumption, it would make a considerable dent in the amount of oil that we need. It's just a basic step that we can do because those water bottles are not going away. After we finish it, it has to go somewhere. And even if it is recycled, unfortunately, it can only be recycled 1, maybe 2 times. So it's sort of like just throwing dust into the wind because every bottle that's used, it has to be replaced. And it's a tremendous footprint. The making of those plastic bottles, too, unfortunately, it's a very toxic process. Releases a lot of toxic gas into the air.
To the viewers out there, message in a bottle, as it's subheaded, bottled water is neither cleaner nor greener than tap water. In E-Magazine, get it, read it, think about it. Thank you so much, Brian Howard, for writing such a hard-hitting and such a comprehensive piece. Thank you for watching. I'm Carl Grossman. To get a copy of this Enviro Close-Up program or any Enviro video show, just check out our website at www.envirovideo.com. Thank you.